My attention is perhaps on one of the most important duty of government, that is keeping the nation safe. The attempted mass abduction at the federal government girls' college in Mogano has once again underscored the persistent security threats facing communities in Nigeria's northeast and the evolving tactics of terrorist groups targeting vulnerable civilian populations. In a swift overnight operation, troops of Operation Hayden Kai, supported by the Nigerian Police Mobile Force, repelled the attackers, rescued all 46 students, and prevented what could have become another major school abduction. While the military says no student was taken captive, it also confirmed that some students lost their lives after being struck by terrorist gunfire during the exchange. Let me allow you to listen to the account and some of what was the outcome of that, what would have become a tragic incident.
What was happening is the attack from the Boko Haram. We are all sleeping at the night. We didn't expect their come. We just hear gun sounds everywhere. They keep shouting. Some of us are hiding under bed. Some of us are hiding inside our lockers. So when they come, some of us are run. They have escaped. We have nothing to say, but we should just thank you for your rescue and help you.
What you have done is beyond expectation. We thank you very much for that. We thank you very much, and you can continuously keep on this. And I believe Monguno will be safe, since I have observed and seen that your effort is very interesting. Thank you very much for what you have done.
Thank you.
That is relieving, isn't it? Because what you would have heard us saying is about the same number of what we saw in Oyo, and this could have happened again in Borno State. But don't forget that there are those in some part of Borno that are still asking the government to help our parents are crying that their children are still in captivity. But over the last few weeks, we've seen a lot of rescue operations, foiling of attacks by this terrorist organization. But questions are now being asked about the suspected insider collaboration that may have enabled the attack, the effectiveness of existing security measures around schools, and what this latest operation reveals about the broader counterinsurgency campaign. Joining us tonight to examine the rescue mission, the evolving security landscape, and the military's ongoing operations against terrorist groups is retired Brigadier General Sani Kukasheka Usman, the former Director of Army Public Relations. Thank you so much, General, for joining us tonight on the program.
Good evening, and thank you so much, too.
I appreciate it. It's some good news, right?
Indeed.
It's always doom and gloom as far as insecurity. In the last almost 20 years in our country, it's always been one sad story or the other, because terrorist organizations have bombarded, mostly part of the northeastern region of the country. They've gone to the north central, the northwest of the country, and we saw what they did in Oyo, and thank goodness that our military and our gallant operatives across DSS, police, they joined together to be able to rescue those Oyo victims back home. But over the next few minutes, I'm going to show our viewers to see what the operations have looked like in the last at least 1 month. The other day, I showed about 3 months, and you can see the effort in almost every part of the country. Military is on one operation or the other. But we've seen some of these efforts. First of all, let me take you to Borno. This Mongunu attempted a foiled attack. What is your own assessment professionally on what really happened?
Yeah, well, I think first and foremost, I would like to start by commending the efforts of the gallant troops, the leadership, and of course the mobile police force that rose to the occasion. Remember, you need to, before you even talk about that, you have to look at the circumstances or the topography of that area to appreciate the effort. First and foremost, it was somewhere around 1 o'clock in the night or 1:30 or thereabout. I remember Monguno has the highest concentration of IDP, and of course the surrounding, and it was a market day. And the issue of collaborators has always been the major problem. But for the troops to have proactively dealt decisively with this situation, I think is something that is very, very commendable. And I'm not even surprised because just recently, the military has recalibrated the leadership. Take, for instance, if you look at the theater command, you know, there were change in terms of the leadership of the various, or particularly the 3 sectors. Sector 1, which has headquarters in Maiduguri, and Sector 2, which has headquarters in Damaturu, and of course Sector 3, which did this marvelous job that has a headquarters in Monguno. And beyond that, there are other rescue efforts, you know, across, you know what happened in Ibadan, I mean, 2-division area of responsibility. And of course, most importantly, we will not forget, despite the unfortunate circumstances, the troop rose to the occasion in Pansanyama to the extent of rescuing the wife of our fallen brother, General Rabi Abubakar. You know, it's kudos to them for them to have rescued her alive and all the rest. But this one to up the game, to proactively preempted the terrorists and, you know, not only you know, rescue the people, they were able to deal decisively with them. But unfortunately, many of them have escaped with gunshot wounds, and of course there were reported collateral damages, ostensibly by the, you know, created by the gunfire of the Boko Haram terrorists. But I can rest assure you, this is something that that is heartwarming, and we crave for more of it. But it is not even surprising because of the renewed vigor and the fact that over the time you look at the synergy of effort and collaboration to the extent of neutralizing Al-Menuki, and you look at his position vis-a-vis in ISWAP and in fact ISIS. So totally, the ISWAP is in total disarray, just the same thing with Jazz. And of course, the military and security forces are taking advantage of it. But it is not yet Uhuru because we still have some unscrupulous elements that for whatever reason they decide, you know, to collaborate with the non-state actors that are doing this, you know, damage to the society. Then, in fact, it was just over the weekend that I came back from Borno. I had been there for 2 weeks, so I know I have a fingertips of what is going on in the theater as it is.
I mean, with your experience, you've got a lot of intelligence, a lot of information. And on this program, one day, emotionally, I started by saying all Nigerians need to unite against terror, which has become something that a lot of... Because, look, we first need to have a nation. Either you are PDP, you are APC, you are NDC. And in my own language, they say the heavens are falling. It's not going to fall on one person. Everybody is going to be impacted. The impact is going to be on everyone. And it's important for all of us, when you hear something, you say something. In the media, we try to applaud the military to be able, every day they are risking their lives. You know, they have families like we do, but they are on the front line fighting to defend our nation. And that's why I take it as an opportunity and a huge honor and a privilege to say to them, kudos, and keep fighting and keep defending our land from this terrorist organization. And I saw the kind of coordination, because over the last few years, we have reported in past governments and all of that, how disorganized the security network, lack of intelligence, disorganization, them not talking together, not harmonized. But we see some level of coordination that's happened, and we saw some elitists in terms of the operations and the rescue. Well, let me show you something, General, and you probably will appreciate it because you are an expert in the field. We are able to put together right here on this program operations and rescue of the last month. I mean, in the last, which has happened in the last month. And if you are looking at your screen right now, you will see state by state from July the 1st, you will see state by state is in Kajuru. There's an anti-banditry operation, victims rescued. weapons, mobile phones belonging to fleeing kidnappers. Operation Fatim Yama told us this. July 3rd to 7th, we saw Benue, Kogi, Taraba, multiple operations. Absolutely.
Yeah, coincidentally, the commander's birthday was yesterday. So I said, Gara, you have given them a birthday gift in Benue.
Fantastic.
So,
You see, 5+ people are rescued. There are targets of abducting in all of these operations: anti-terrorism operation, banditry operation, counter-kidnapping operation. In every of these operations, there are targets on vulnerable population. And you can see we listed them right here for our viewers to understand what has happened over there. This is just 1 month. And we have a report of 3 months that we put together right here on Channel
barely 2 weeks plus.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you can see just the sheer in Katsina, Kaduna, Niger, Oyo, Borno, Benue, Kogi. The military is on different operations. We are terribly being stretched. But let me ask you, and I'm worried, General, ISWAP appears to be changing its tactics from attacking military formations to targeting schools, civilians, and strategic infrastructure. Is the group becoming more sophisticated, or is this a sign that military pressure is forcing it to adapt asymmetric methods?
Undoubtedly, yes. Undoubtedly, yes. You know, they are very dynamic in the sense that they kept on evolving, you know, in terms of tactics and procedures and all the rest. And thankfully, the military and security forces are also meeting up to that, in the sense that there were even reports that they are taking advantage of the artificial intelligence to do that. And I can tell you that the military is also upping its game, in the sense that they are matching them, not just question of matching them. They understand basically the basic tactics of Boko Haram. Wherever they are, anytime, if you don't go to them, they come to you. So instead of them waiting for them to come, now you go to them.
Your counter-terrorism strategy must be on point.
Exactly.
You must preempt.
Proactively.
You must be proactive.
Proactively.
What do you think has changed, General? Is it technology or strategy? What
a combination of so many factors. The zeal and the determination, recalibration of the leadership, and of course the renewed cooperation, and the understanding that, look, security is everybody's business. And there is a limit to which the military or the security forces can achieve anything without the collaboration of the Nigerian society. So, and that is why the issue, I just have to commend you for all the efforts you have been doing, appreciating all these things, and mobilizing the Nigerian society. Because the military or the security forces are not magicians. There is a limit to which technology can be utilized. You still have to rely on the human factor. And that is where the military come into play. And the same thing, at the same time, the society come into play. And if you look at even the statement from the, you know, Munguno, they were saying that the attack that was thwarted, you know, the abduction that was thwarted, was due to the efforts of collaborators. Whether they are inside or outside, they use the word collaborators. And it has always been the bend. You know, people, to some extent, to them, it's a business, because to them, so long as they can get money, they don't care what is the impact of that means of getting money. So basically, unless that issue is dealt with. But most importantly, there is a renewed synergy of effort among the security agencies. And of course, the troops themselves, they understand that, look, there is no way these guys can match them. I have seen that zeal and I've seen that determination.
Are you also happy? When you were in service, little did we hear about the military staying side by side with a police officer in an operation. I mean, we know it happens sometimes, but we've seen more of it happen. We saw it in Orire. We saw a combination: police officer, mobile police officers, Air Force. All of them, you see them. They look like they were from the same formation. We saw little of that in the past years, but recently we see that happening. Something dramatic must have happened.
Well, definitely to you, it is like that.
It's obvious to us now.
But let me tell you, the teaching is that. The teaching is that there is synergy of effort. In fact, there is all internal security operations are predicated, you know, based on, you know, police action, whereby the police is overwhelmed. There is a procedure where the military will take over. But that does not mean that they will take over absolutely. There is always an understanding. And check out all the training institutions, be it except for the basic training, maybe at depot, the various 3 depots, and the Nigerian Defense Academy. But beyond that, professional training, you will see that there is always interagency collaboration and training. Pick the Army War College, or the Naval War College, or the Air Force War College, or even the Armed Forces Command and Staff College. It's a matter of fact, every course, the senior course, there is an exercise, they call it HASKView. It's more or less like simulation of internal security operations. Beyond the police, all other components of the security architectures are involved in that exercise. And when you go to the war colleges and the national defense colleges, you always find the police or the other security agencies in that training. The same thing with National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies. So what really is the problem is the issue of translating that normative aspect into reality. And of course, everybody has come to realization that you need to. And basically, internal security is within the purview of the Nigerian police force.
Absolutely.
So automatically, people have realized the need for that. And beyond that, again, it has worked. So you keep on adjusting what works for you. You realize that synergy of effort, collaboration, and coordination, and most importantly, issue of coordination. And I have seen that beyond all that. Just recently, we have had a roundtable in respect of the issue of state police. And you can see the component and the convergence of the various segments of Nigerian society in that aspect, realizing the importance of the Nigerian police force in dealing with security challenges in this country and other security sectors. So it's not a surprising thing, actually.
But I mean, it's quite heartwarming. We have not gotten there. People are abducted. People are still in the terrorist camp. They are being held by terrorists. A lot of attacks are still happening in the country. But what gladdens one's heart is the fact that we're seeing a lot of rescue operation, foiling of some of these attacks. And this is not the trend that we've always seen. But what I'm hearing, the intelligence we have, is that there are some procurement that has happened recently. We've gotten some more weaponry that has been made available. Whether that is enough or not, that is yet to be seen. Technologies we understand are coming to be able to surveillance technology we understand are in the works that are going to help. But what gives me worry is what the military said. They said that suspected collaborators are helping to facilitate these attacks, especially the one we saw in Mogunum. And increasingly we hear about local informants aiding insurgents. Has the battle shifted, General, beyond the battlefield to one of infiltration and community compromise?
Well, what I want you to understand, Shaun, is the fact that the concept of war economy is real. It's an economic system that revolves around any given complex situation. People are benefiting from it. So the issue of morality does not even come into play. Take, for instance, pick either banditry. To a large extent, banditry, the center of gravity is 2 things. Or rather, there are 2 things. The information and, of course, the weapon they have. And to a large extent, familiar with the ground more than, everyone else. Because most of the kidnappings in those areas, they are local issues. The people that, the perpetrators of that crime, they hardly come from outside. Except, of course, when you think of the Kaduna train attack and kidnapping. But most of them, they are within, so they are familiar with the terrain. But coming back to the issue, now people benefit from supplying logistics, weapons.
Are they intentional collaborators or
in most instances it is intentional, and you have to go back to the simple fact issue of governance. Now we have 3 tiers of government: federal, state, and the local government. You know what is happening to the local government. And the thing is that people who, under normal circumstances, would have prepared to be hardworking, honest, and dedicated will be enticed by still little stipends because they have no better alternatives. That is one aspect. But there are those that have criminal tendencies because all the leadership of the banditry and the kingpins of the, terrorists, if you look at their history, they had exhibited some form of violent extremism right from the beginning. Or they have this tendency of criminality over time. And the system was unable to check them to when they grow towards the camp. And of course, proliferation of weapons and the fact that they are being aided by this war economy. Take, for instance, a bottle of Coca-Cola that sells for as much, I think the 33CL is about 300 naira or thereabout. But you go to the bandit camp, it sells for as much as 3,000 naira. So you can imagine, the person is making his own money. To him, he doesn't care what it contributes. Just like you had the blood diamonds in Sierra Leone and all the rest of it. So it is the same thing here.
The economy around is fueling.
Exactly.
I was going to ask it, why has the war lasted this long? Why have we not been able to?
It is because of the collaborative effort of those collaborators. To them, it's a business as usual. And a simple arithmetic will tell you. Take, for instance, a kidnapper that collects ransom of 50 million, 30 million, or 20 million, or even 5 million, as the case may be. Do you think that he will be carrying it on his bag across the bush? Somebody is investing it for him. Who is that person? So these are the issues. So it is beyond just... So
but General, do we need some kind of help? I mean, during the Jonathan era, we used mercenaries. The American recently came to support. I mean, does this war look like we cannot do it alone? We need some larger representation of support.
I think you may argue yes and no against that. But believe me, I'm all the opinion that our problems are local and the solution is within. All it requires is determination and galvanization of the whole society, beyond the whole government, the whole society, in the fight against all this criminality.
But do you think state police concept could help us to stem the tide?
State police, well, whether you like it or not, is an idea that has come with its time. But the whole idea is just like when we were talking, and one of the noted authority in policing across globally, and he was asking that question. It is no question of security architecture or legislation. We have more than enough rules or laws against corruption. Yes, corruption strives. So the policing, the state police will thrive in an atmosphere where there is also good governance. Because there is limit to which you can use coercive agents to deal with social injustice.
Yeah.
Like I kept on saying, there's still security challenges. If you like, you should bring 1 million policemen. If the people do not decide to live in peace among themselves, they cannot solve the problem. The same thing with the military. So you have to intensify on those time-tested conflict resolution mechanism, the issue of good governance. Then the police, the state police, will effectively deal with those local issues. Yes, the fears about funding, collaboration or, relationship and all the rest of them are being addressed. And I hope it is realistic.
So sophistication of operation is also using technology and advanced technology to be able to fight, preempt, and be able to... Because there are those who will tell you that, look, it is not the absence of criminality that shows how secure the nation is the ability to be able to preempt it and prevent it. And you will see in some climes they will tell you, CCTV camera is here. There are those who will say, let us hide so that they will not see that it's CCTV. But it's telling the criminal minded that if you steal, we are watching you. And in that sense, our borders, for example, can we mount a physical border around? There are those who will say, use technology. How much of the sophistication of technology do we need, and how fast do we need to employ them?
Well, beyond the use of technology, definitely technology is a force multiplier in the sense that a work that could be done by 100 people with click of a button, you can be able to do that, and you can be able to see beyond what the human eye can see or can travel. I mean, physically you can cover. Now, beyond that, again, when you talked about foreign help and all the rest, and I think there is need for constructive engagement with our neighbors. Because even if you put the technology and all the rest of them, you don't even know what is happening in the other side. So you need their support, you need their cooperation, you need their collaboration to deal with the security challenges. And we have seen it. At the beginning of Boko Haram, people thought that it was a Nigeria's problem. But eventually it was transborder. Look at what happened in other countries, and eventually they have to collaborate, hence the rejigging of the multinational joint task force under the Lake Chad Basin Commission. So these are the issues. Technology comes into play, but at the same time, we should also look at that aspect of the human, aspect, in the sense that we need the collaboration, we need the support, so that we can stem the tides of proliferation of these small and medium arms that make the difference. Then again, technology helps in the sense that even if a criminal had a tendency of committing crime, the system will eventually catch up with him. And somehow, people will have a second thought, because you know that you can hide, but there is limit to which you can even hide, because you cannot go far. We have had instances where people, because of the level of commitment and security education, they hand over or they, point out where criminals are hiding. And this is what we want. But beyond that, again, you have to also make sure that the responders are adequately equipped, kitted, so that they can respond effectively.
General, on a final note, sir, on a final note, and I need you to help us on this. Elections are here, and you know what happens. Elections are sometimes a magnet to insecurity, and you see the rise of insecurity for so many other reasons that experts will give. If you have your way, how do you think is best, or what would you do if you have your way in ensuring that this insecurity around the election period is totally curtailed?
I think it's a work in progress, and they are doing the best they can. And I think in a couple of days, I know that the defense headquarters and others are also having seminars, around security during the election period and the role of the military and other security agencies. So, but beyond that, everybody is aware of the fact that you cannot even have an election in an atmosphere of insecurity. Therefore, you must have a skilled society before you think of election. So basically, I know that effort is ongoing in terms of plans, collaboration to ensure that a conducive atmosphere is created for the 2027 general election and beyond.
Brigadier General S.K. Usman, retired. Thank you so much indeed for your time tonight. I appreciate all of the efforts you have given tonight in ensuring that insight is given to what is happening and the hopes that we have that in no time all of this will be a thing of the past. Many thanks for the service to our nation.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure having you on the program.